being a firefighter often means facing danger head-on and stepping into situations that most people would run from. But sometimes, the most unsettling moments don't come from the flames or the chaos, they come from what you can't explain. Tonight, I'll share some chilling stories from firefighters who experienced something beyond the physical realm, moments that left even the bravest of us shaken to the core. My name is Luis, and I've been working as a firefighter for over 15 years. I've faced all kinds of emergencies, but one particular night left a mark on me that I'll never forget. It was a rainy evening when we received a call about a fire in an old residential building on the edge of town. The building had been empty for years, but neighbors swore they saw flickering lights and smoke coming from the windows. We were skeptical but had to check it out. When we arrived, the place looked abandoned, peeling paint, boarded-up windows, and overgrown weeds swallowing the front yard. There was no visible fire, but the smell of something burning lingered in the damp night air. My team and I split up to sweep the building. I was assigned to the basement. As I descended the creaky stairs, I could feel the temperature drop significantly. My flashlight barely penetrated the darkness, and the smell of mold mixed with burnt wood was overwhelming. Halfway through the basement, I heard it, a faint sound, almost like someone humming. It was coming from the far corner of the room, where piles of old furniture and debris were stacked. I called out, "Fire department. Is anyone here?" But there was no response. As I approached, the humming grew louder, and I could make out a figure crouched in the shadows. It was a woman, her back turned to me, rocking back and forth. Her hair was long and matted, and she seemed to be whispering something. Story 2. My name is Nolan, and I've been a firefighter for nearly a decade. In this job, you learn to expect the unexpected, but nothing could have prepared me for what happened one night in the middle of a storm. It started with a call about a fire at an old industrial warehouse on the outskirts of town. The place had been abandoned for years, but someone reported seeing smoke coming from the windows. My team and I suited up and headed out. The rain was relentless, pounding against the truck as we drove. When we arrived, the warehouse loomed over us like a ghost. The windows were shattered, and the metal walls were rusted and covered in graffiti. Despite the rain, there was a faint haze of smoke trailing out of one of the upper floors. We had to investigate. We split into teams, each assigned to a different section of the building. I was with my partner, Mike, and we were tasked with searching the main floor. The inside was cold, damp, and eerily quiet. Our flashlights barely cut through the darkness, and every step echoed in the vast, empty space. As we moved deeper into the warehouse, we started hearing noises, soft, irregular tapping sounds. At first, we thought it was the rain hitting the roof, but the pattern didn't match. It was coming from somewhere ahead of us. We followed the sound to what looked like an old break room. The door was slightly ajar, and as we pushed it open, the tapping stopped. The room was empty, save for some overturned chairs and a broken table. Then, Mike pointed his flashlight at the far corner. There, on the wall, was a fresh set of handprints, smeared in what looked like ash or soot. They were small, like a child's, and they led up the wall and across the ceiling. Story 3. My name is Ramon, and I've been a firefighter for over 7 years. You'd think by now I'd be used to strange and unsettling calls, but one night in particular still haunts me. It was a quiet evening at the station until we got a call about a possible fire in an abandoned church just outside town. The caller was vague, claiming they saw flames through one of the broken windows. Normally, abandoned buildings catching fire isn't unheard of, it's usually vagrants or kids messing around, but something about this call felt off. When we arrived, The church looked like something out of a horror movie. The once beautiful structure was now decayed, with ivy crawling up its cracked stone walls. The large wooden doors were slightly ajar, creaking as the wind pushed them. No visible flames, but there was definitely a faint glow coming from inside. We entered cautiously, splitting into pairs. I was with my partner, Derek. The first thing we noticed was the silence. Even in an old building, you'd expect to hear the occasional creak or scurry of rodents, but here, there was nothing. Just the faint crunch of our boots on debris. As we made our way down the main aisle, our flashlights caught glimpses of the pews, most of them broken and covered in dust. Then, Derek stopped abruptly, shining his light toward the altar. "What the hell is that?" he muttered. At first, I didn't see anything, but as I stepped closer, I noticed what he meant. There was a figure, barely visible, standing at the edge of the altar. It was motionless, facing away from us. My first thought was that it was a squatter, maybe someone who got trapped when the fire started. "Hey! Fire department!" I called out. "You need to leave this building immediately." No response. Derek and I exchanged a look before stepping closer. That's when the figure turned around. It wasn't a person. At least, not anymore. Its face was pale, the eyes completely black, like they absorbed the light from our flashlights. It smiled at us, this twisted, unnatural grin, and then it just vanished. Story 4. My name is Gustin, and I've been working as a firefighter for about 5 years now. In our line of work, we're trained to expect the unexpected. Fires are unpredictable, and the danger can come from anywhere. But one night, I found myself in a situation that no training could have prepared me for, one that still leaves me questioning what I saw. It was a quiet evening at the station when we got a call about a possible fire at an old farmhouse a few miles outside the city. The dispatcher mentioned that the neighbor who called in and saw smoke coming from the property but wasn't sure if anyone lived there anymore. As we rolled out in the truck, I felt a strange heaviness in my chest. When we arrived, the farmhouse was barely visible under the glow of the moon. It looked like it had been abandoned for years. The wooden structure was weathered and partially collapsed in places. A faint, wispy smoke trailed out from the upper window, disappearing into the cold night air. Our captain told us to proceed with caution. I was paired with one of the rookies, Matt, and together we approached the house. The front door creaked open with little effort, revealing a dusty interior littered with broken furniture and rotting wood. The smell of dampness mixed with something acrid filled the air. We moved carefully through the first floor, checking for signs of fire or anyone who might be inside. The smoke seemed to be coming from above us, so we started up the staircase. Every step groaned under our weight, and I couldn't shake the feeling that we were being watched. As we reached the second floor, the atmosphere changed. The air felt heavier, almost like we were wading through water. The hallway stretched ahead of us, and at the end of it, there was a door slightly ajar. That's where the smoke was coming from. We called out, announcing ourselves, but there was no answer. Matt and I exchanged a glance, and I could tell he was just as uneasy as I was. We moved toward the door, the creaking of the floorboards echoing in the stillness. When we pushed the door open, the room was empty except for a small pile of smoldering ashes in the center. It wasn't a fire, it looked more like someone had been burning something intentionally. Old papers, maybe, or wood. And then we heard it. A whisper. It was faint but unmistakable, like someone speaking just behind us. We spun around, shining our flashlights, but there was no one there. The whisper came again, clearer this time, and it sent a chill down my spine. It was a single word, leave. I grabbed Matt's arm, and we backed out of the room slowly. As we did, the door slammed shut on its own, and the temperature in the hallway seemed to plummet. We didn't wait to investigate further. We turned and bolted down the stairs, our boots thundering against the wood. When we got outside, the captain asked what had happened, but neither of us could explain it. We secured the scene, reported the strange pile of ashes, and left. To this day, I don't know what we encountered in that farmhouse. Some of the guys at the station think it was just the wind or our nerves playing tricks on us. But I know what I heard, and I'll never forget that whisper. Firefighters are trained to handle the unimaginable, but some things defy all logic and preparation. These stories serve as a reminder that there's more out there than meets the eye. If you enjoyed these chilling tales, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share your thoughts or your own experiences in the comments below. Thanks for joining me tonight, and I'll see you in the next video.